Joining me now is Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison. Thank you for joining me today, Attorney General. We have a lot of issues I want to cover with you, but let's start. I just want your thoughts as an observer of the legal proceedings against former President Trump right now. I know these aren't your cases, but we've seen the Republican nominee attacking the prosecutor and the judges, and he has repeatedly sought to delay the proceedings with an election day looming. Are you confident that we're moving in the direction of justice being served?
Yes, I am confident. And I just want to commend Attorney General Tish James for pursuing justice, making sure that nobody's above the law, nobody's beneath the law. Certainly Donald Trump is being treated just like any other civil defendant. He's got to come up with the bond, or he's going to seek levy and execution, seizure to collect on the judgment. That's just the way that it is. Nobody else would be treated any different, and he should not be treated different. And we'll see what happens tomorrow. I don't have any inside information on what's going to happen tomorrow, but his moment of reckoning is coming up quick. On the other matter, the sexual hush money case, the prostitution suppression case, which essentially manipulated our electoral system by hiding information, falsifying information, that matter is looming as well. And I have every reason to believe that Alvin Bragg is going to see justice served as well.
Let's get to Minnesota. Your office just announced a multi-million-dollar settlement against Havenbrook Homes and several other large landlord companies accused of failing to maintain their rental properties in Minnesota, leaving tenants to live in uninhabitable conditions. The agreement comes at a time when the Biden administration and Democrats are calling for new policies to address the dire need for affordable housing. Talk a little bit about the significance of this case.
Well, this is a very big deal. And you know what, Rev, I will just bring you back to 2008 when you had massive foreclosures, as many as 4 million across the country, and large hedge funds, private equity firms bought residential rental properties, and you began to see the landlord shift from being the lady downstairs to being a multi-billion-dollar company across the country. And as a result, you've seen many in Minnesota, certainly, we went from a situation where we could see maintenance and rental properties to nameless, faceless landlords who didn't really concern themselves with the welfare of tenants. And we've seen the declines. I mean, the fact is, Rev, we have seen, and we were able to allege in our complaint, and we've now settled the case that, tenants were repeatedly losing heat, water breaks, water leaks, haphazard fixes, exposures to lead, mold, severe pest infestation, and the lack of hot water and other problems like that, delayed repairs. And so now we were able to resolve this case against Havenbrook, which is and 6 other defendants. And now they're going to have to, one, set up a restitution fund for those victims to the tune of about $2.2 million. And they're going to have to do a lot of loan forgiveness rental forgiveness for tenants as well. They have announced that they're leaving Minnesota. That's fine. They've planned that they're going to sell properties to affordable housing organizations. We certainly hope that they do that. But no matter what they do with that project, they're going to have to follow all state and federal lead paint hazard laws. They're going to have to make timely responses for repairs, and they're going to have to provide tenants with copies of city inspection reports and rental properties, and they're going to have to abate rent if any city-ordered repairs are not completed within the required time. This is a national story, but as you know, it's intensely local. You've been standing up for tenants your whole life, and you know what I mean.
Now, let me go to this issue. New FBI data out this week finds crime in the U.S. declined significantly in 2023 in nearly every category. Analysts say the 1-year drop in the murder rate could be the largest ever recorded. I ask you about this because those numbers don't seem to match the public perception that crime is on the rise. A sentiment some Republicans have exploited to attack prosecutors seeking to address long-standing problems of bias in our criminal justice system. What do these statistics tell you about how we should be approaching the issues of crime and punishment in this country?
Well, I am a prosecutor, as you know, and if you are a victim of a crime, then the crime rate is intolerable, and I understand that. We have a duty and an obligation to protect everyone and make sure justice is done. But statistically, it is true that crime is dramatically down, and some of the right-wing prescriptions for how to deal with crime are just wrong and are going to bring us back to the bad old days. My thought is that we need to continue to be aggressive about, protecting people, no doubt, prosecuting crime. Murder happens, rape happens, criminal sexual assault, and human trafficking. These things happen. We will continue to do our job, but we've also got to go upstream. We've got to make sure that the automobiles are not so easy to steal so that they're a tempting, attractive nuisance for young people. And, right now we are investigating 2 major automakers because their cars are dramatically too easy to steal for young people. Also, we've got to get a handle on these guns. You cannot sell guns irresponsibly or negligently. You can't sell them to a straw purchaser. You cannot sell guns, and you can't market to children and things like we see gun manufacturers doing right now. We've got to go upstream on crime and not just say we're going to only deal with the people on the street. There are a lot of people involved in the chain of criminality, starting sometimes for people who, are members of the country club, resulting in tragic circumstances for victims on the street. So we've got to go upstream. We also have got to understand that not all it's not about punishment all the time. Sometimes it's about giving people another opportunity. It is about diversion programs. It is about making sure that youth are back in school. One thing that has not happened since the pandemic more or less ended is that we have not seen school absenteeism go back to pre-pandemic levels. You see large numbers of kids still out of school. This is an attractive nuisance, and it is undermining their educational opportunities. This is not about throwing people in jail. This is about reaching out to families and kids and making sure the kids got a good educational opportunity and that they're not drawn into mischievous, sometimes criminal behavior. So this is a comprehensive thing. It involves accountability, but we cannot ignore compassion and second chances. We've got to prioritize public safety, not just politicize crime, which unfortunately is an old tactic for Republicans.
Now, I'm out of time, but before we go, you've been a prominent Muslim voice in the Democratic Party for many years. There's been much discussion and dissatisfaction with the Biden administration within Muslim American communities in Minnesota, Michigan, and elsewhere over their handling of the Israel-Hamas war. Do you think the president has made any progress in responding to the concerns, and what more can be done? And are you concerned about the rise of anti-Semitism and anti-Muslim and Islamophobia that we've been witnessing since October 7th? We're out of time, but I wanted you to just respond briefly.
Well, I just want to say that I do think the Biden administration is making important strides, but we have seen 30,000 people killed, most of whom are women and children. And also, let's not forget the 1,400 Israelis who were killed. This tragedy is terrible. We must have a ceasefire. I'm glad the president is saying so. We must have humanitarian intervention, but we also must have a permanent home for Palestinian people to undermine Hamas. If there was a permanent home for the Palestinian people where they didn't have to worry about their own safety and security, that would undermine the call for groups like Hamas. We need 2 states. We got one. We need another one in order to have a more lasting solution. This is a complicated issue, but I urge everybody to just bear in mind, we all know who pushed the Muslim ban. That was Trump. We all know he said, finish the job. He's not expressing any sympathy for any Palestinian person. And so it's clear to me that President Biden needs to be reelected.